Hey, how's it going, guys? My name's Chris, but on MTG Salvation and on MTGO, I go by I'm a Poner. I've been asked to make a couple videos about White Black Midrange, also known as Dead Guy Ale. So this is the deck. Uh, we have 25 lands, which is different from most other lists. Most other lists are running 23. I was running 23 as of a couple days ago, but I've found that if I miss my first couple of land drops, then we can have some issues because I'm running Pack Rat. So yeah, you've got of course Four Godless Shrine, some isolated chapels and marsh flats, plains and swamps. But some other things I'm running that other people aren't are Temple of Silence, which is fantastic. Just scrying dead stuff to the bottom. It's one of our best turn one plays because our turn one plays are either removal or discard. And if we don't have the discard and there's nothing to kill, then Temple of Silence is the best turn one play. So I've also got Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth. I was using it before to make Gatekeeper Malakir work, but now I'm using it mainly to turn some of these colorless lands into swamps. If we get like a hand that's heavy in them, then this really helps out. Um, so then we got Tectonic Edge and so the Archangel is one of the biggest game breakers in this deck, especially paired with Lingering Souls. It's absolutely game breaking. Against creature decks, you can just take down whole boards with that, and it just causes a stall to happen. And yeah, it's extremely powerful. Then we have Mutavault. I'm mainly playing Mutavault to work well with Pack Rat, but it's also a great threat after a Wrath or just another threat. It allows us to have 25 lands while still keeping a threat density. Then I've got Slaughter Pact, which is it's really good against Twin because you can tap out and then they play their Pestromite into their Splinter Twin, and you're like, no, that's not happening. So that's one of the big reasons why it's in here. But also against regular creature decks, you can make a play on turn three, say like a Liliana, and then kill something as well. Make her from sacrifice and then kill something as well. It's just allowing us to do two things in a turn, which is one of where the deck gets a lot of its power. Um, then I've got these four removal spells right here: Disfigure and Vendetta. Um, so they're both mainly here just to kill turn one mana dorks. That's one of the big reasons it's in here. If Pod can get their mana dorks on the battlefield, that can give us problems because it just pulls them ahead and allows them to go turn two Kitchen Finks or turn two Pod or something like that. So it can get a little scary. That's why these are in here. So Disfigure cleanly deals with any small creature, Dark Confidants and things like that, even Pestromites and stuff. But Vendetta also deals with those little creatures, but it can kill bigger things as well. I have a split between both of them instead of four one way or the other because Vendetta can only kill a non-black creature, so it can't kill Bob or Murderous Redcap or Vault Scourge. So there's some corner case scenarios where it doesn't work well. This figure, on the other hand, can kill anything small, so that's why I have the split. This figure is actually a newer addition after me getting rid of the gatekeepers, and I like it so far. It's really good. Then we have, of course, Thoughtseized Inquisitions, just best 1 mana discard. Path to Exile, obviously best removal spell. Tidehall Scholar, he is a card that just lets you craft the way the game is played. He's a real skill testing card. Some of the situations that might come up if you're playing against Jund or whatever, and they have a lightning bolt and an abrupt decay. Whenever you play the Tidehall Scholar, you want to take the lightning bolt so that they can use the abrupt. They have to use the abrupt decay on your Tidehall Scholar instead of your Liliana, or something like that. And against decks running like Anger of the Gods, for instance, say like Scape Shift, you see their hand and they got Lightning Bolt and Anger of the Gods. So you take the Lightning Bolt and then maybe you play out like one half of your Lingering Souls, and then force them to Anger, and then untap and play more Lingering Souls. It's just a way to force people to play the way that you want them to play. I think he's very powerful, so that's why he's a 4 of here. So then we have Dark Confidant, best card advantage engine in the format. And then we come to Packrat. Now the debate has been between Bramaz, King of Oreskos, and Packrat. So I like Packrat more because he can swarm field a lot easier against Pod and Death and Taxes and what was the other one? Merfolk. Bramaz can have issues attacking into their boards. The only time I really want a Bramaz is when I need to block something that, important, like the turn that comes out. But otherwise, Packrat's better. Because Packrat, especially with the Mutavaults, it's really good with the Mutavaults. It can just grow into like a 5/5 by like turn 4 or 5. It's ridiculous. It just puts down the clock so fast. Like I raced Boggles in one game just because of Packrat. Like no, I had no other spells. I just beat him with a Packrat. It's also easy to play around like sweepers with Packrat. You play it on turn 5, and you have enough mana to make a token, which is why we want to hit our first 5 land drops. And then if they don't anger, you make a token at the end of their turn, untap, play your 6th land, make 2 tokens, and now you're anger proof. So yeah, mainly the 2 cards that are really scary for Packrat is Maelstrom Pulse and Supreme Verdict. So if you know they're running Supreme Verdict and Maelstrom Pulse, you don't want to go all in on it unless you can get them to use their Maelstrom Pulse, which is why Tidehull Sculler is awesome. So if you can get the game into the position where they can't sweep all these guys, it's extremely hard for an opponent to win. He's just a fantastic finisher. If you play him on turn 5, you give your opponent 2 draws, and if they don't find an answer to him, they're dead. So he's extremely powerful. Bramaz dies to Flame Slash and Path to Exile. Abrupt Decay, he can die to a Liliana's sacrifice effect if he hasn't attacked yet. So there's ways for someone to 1-for-1 a Bramaz. There is not a way for someone to 1-for-1 a Packrat. Well, I guess there is. There's Anger of the Gods and stuff. But I mean, it's easy to play around these though. And with Bramaz, it's not easy to play around a lot of that stuff. So then we have Lingering Souls, which is just some good card advantage, and Liliana, which is the best Planeswalker in the format. So then our sideboard here, I've changed it up a little bit. So I'll just go over the stuff that's been in my list previously. Grafdigger's Cage, this is mainly for Pod. Just to stop them from tutoring. Essentially, it's not so much the grave hate as the tutoring hate that I'm using it for. It's also still effective against Storm because they can't flashback stuff with Past in Flames. So it's a pretty decent card. Rest in Peace, mainly for Storm and Living End. It's also good against Pod. So yeah, these 2 will come in against Pod and Storm. Disenchant, it sucks we can't have main deck Artifact and Enchantment Hate, so we have to run Disenchant the board. The main culprits are Pyromancer's Ascension and Batterskull, and yeah, it's a necessity, unfortunately. And Birthing Pod too. Fulminator Mage is for Affinity and Scape Shift and Tron. He also comes in against control decks to blow up man lands essentially, and against green-black mid-range decks to blow up man lands pretty much. It might seem like a non-bow to have Fulminator Mage and Path to Exile in the same deck, but as I said, you're not necessarily trying to keep them off of a color, although it'd be nice to do that. You can do that against Scape Shift because you're boarding out your paths, but he's mainly there just to deal with problematic lands. So then we have Memoricide, which is used against Scape Shift and Twin, and I bring it in against Tron. Memoricide, it's just a way to get rid of Scape Shift, and you're mainly naming Empty the Warrens against Storm, and against Tron, their threats are so massive and so hard to deal with. You've got to have some way to just rip them out of the deck. Yeah, I named Karn first. Obviously, he's probably the most powerful card in their deck. So Yeah, we got that to deal with all those things. Then the ley lines, obviously good against burn, and burn's a tough matchup, so there we go. Also, it's used against storm and scape shift. Um, Scape shift is not running echoing truth, so it's actually kind of hard for them to bounce this right now. They've crypto command obviously, and some of them are playing repeal, but Leyline, I've had it stick around in a couple of games, and so it's good against Scape Shift also. And if it's not, if they can bounce it, then we also have Memoricide and Surgical Extraction as ways to get rid of the Scape Shift. It's mainly a roadblock, but a lot of the times it will stick. I also use Leyline against green black midrange decks to get rid of to stop Liliana's and their discard spells. I don't bring in 4 against green black midrange though. I just bring in 2, and it's just one of those cards that's just nice to have if you get it. I mean, I got all this removal that doesn't really need to be here in like Thoughtseize and stuff. That I just need something else to fill in, so I got 2 late lines. Surgical extraction. I'm using it against storm, scape shift. Pretty much everything a Memoricide comes in against. This is just a faster way to get something out of their deck. It's a new addition, so I'm really not sure how good it is. I haven't had a chance to use it yet, but I think it should be really good. It's just sometimes you might have problems getting to 4 mana to cast the Memoricide, and if you're lucky enough to Thoughtseize away something big, then you can just surgical extraction it. So yeah, that's the deck. Black White Midrange or Dead Guy Ale, I suppose. So I'm going to take you through a couple of videos. So yeah, see you in a little bit.